Hey everybody, this is a county map that highlights the 10 biggest blue shifts in the 2024 election. So we're going to go through these 10 and see which had the biggest shift toward Kamala Harris between 2020 and 2024. We'll do the same thing for the Republicans. Today it's the Dems. And you can see these 10 counties are not really concentrated in one place except for Georgia, where we do have 4 of them. So let's start with number 10. This is going to be the smallest of the shifts. And this is going to be Ellis County, Oklahoma. And this swung 4.9% toward Harris. And we'll see if anything stands out about this county. You can see it's located right here, and there's only 3,700 people here. This is the 5th least populated county in the state. It's not really next to any major cities. And if we take a look at the demographics, unfortunately, it doesn't really look like this has been updated since 2000. But to me, it doesn't look like there's anything too special about this county. So if you look at the recent political history, it voted gigantically for Trump, 87.5%. Harris pulled in just under 11. And even though it's extremely red, that's technically not as red as it was in 2020, where Trump was over 90% and Biden was under 9. So unless there's something I'm missing here, I'm going to say this is kind of an outlier. It's a low population county. The demographics are exactly the kind that Trump would do well in. So it looks like it just happened to shift a few points toward the left. Let's go to the number 9 county, and this is Paulding County, Georgia. And this swung 5% toward Harris. So this county does have a lot of population, over 168,000. And it's also in the Atlanta vicinity if you take a look at its location right here. Those counties we've seen move toward the left over the past decade plus. So let's take a look at some of these demographics. As of 2020, it's got 64% white non-Hispanic, almost 22% black, and a little bit of a Hispanic population. But the population has gone up here rapidly over the past several decades. It was only at about 81,000 in 2000. So with all that population growth and it being in close proximity to the Atlanta area, how did it do politically? Well, here's the table. It voted 61.5% for Trump, 37.5% for Harris. And the trends here are not really looking great here for the Republicans. Even though Trump won it handily, the Republican vote share has steadily gone down. It was at 71% with Mitt Romney, and it was even at 76% back in 2004. The Democratic share has gone up. This is the highest here since back in 1980, where it was at 60%. So a blue shift here in suburban and exurban Atlanta. It's exactly the kind of place we've seen move away from the Republicans. Let's go to number 8. This is going to be in South Dakota, and it's Hyde County. This is similar to Oklahoma. Very few people here, just 1,200, and it's located close to the center of the state. So let's see if there's anything notable about the demographics. Well, the stats here are not exactly updated for 2020, but nothing really jumps out here even at the 2010 data. The population here has declined a little bit over the past bunch of decades, actually, going back to 1930, where it was at 3,600. So a steady decline in population here. But what about the political history? We've got Trump winning it with 76%. That's down from the recent high of 78 and 16. And Harris still struggling here, but she did get it up over 21. I don't think there's enough people here for this to be statistically significant, even relative to South Dakota. But if you're looking for a county that Harris did a little bit better in, there's one right here. Next, let's go to number 6. This is going to be Kaufman County, Texas. Here we've got a population of 145,000. And the county is located here. It's going to be in the vicinity of Dallas and Fort Worth. So this could be similar to some of the counties outside of Atlanta. Let's go down to the demographics. Here we've got a great table. The white non-Hispanic population has steadily declined over the past few decades. Black population has gone up a little bit, and the Hispanic population has gone up dramatically. And they even have a 2023 table here where those trends have continued even further. And there's been a lot of population increase here. If you can go back a few decades, it's clear this county has experienced a population boom. So what does all that translate into? Well, let's go down to the political table. And it's way down here, but we've got Trump winning it with over 63%. Harris is at 35.5%. That's the best performance for a Democrat since Bill Clinton here in 96. And Trump doing about 8 points worse than he did in his first run in 2016. So he's still winning it comfortably, but those trends highlight a future potential weakness, something to keep your eye on. Let's look at number 6. We're going to go back to Georgia. We've got Douglas County. It's another one located in the vicinity of Atlanta. And we're looking at about 144,000 people, so that's definitely not nothing. Let's take a look at the demographics. The white non-Hispanic population has dramatically dropped off since 2000. The black population has gone up sharply. It's at almost 48%. Now let's go down to the political table. We've got Harris here winning it this time with about 65%. and Trump here is down to under 34%. You can see that's a clear downward trajectory. Last time a Republican got less than that was back in '76 with Gerald Ford. So this county is clearly moving toward the left, and it doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon, but you never know. Let's do number 5. We're going to stay in the same state, and it's going to be Rockdale County. And we're starting to see a similar theme here. This is also in the Atlanta vicinity, and it's also a county that has some population. It's at a little under 100,000. Down here to the demographics, it's another one that has a relatively small white population and a pretty sizable black population. Hispanic population is similar here at about 10%. The population here has generally consistently gone up in recent decades. And as far as politics goes, Harris did win this county very comfortably. She was at 73%, Trump at under 26. That's the worst performance for a Republican here in a very long time. George W. Bush actually carried this thing in 2004, and he carried it by more than 20 points. So everything changed here with Obama. Just 4 years later, he dramatically flipped that county and won it by almost 10 points. Ever since then, it's gone left off a cliff, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. So we've seen a pattern here of counties around Atlanta. There's no question this may be the weakest spot in the entire country for the Republicans. Number 4 is Loving County, Texas, and this swung 6.5 points toward Harris. And this county is notable because it's actually the least populous county in the entire country. It's located way out here, which is technically not really close to any major metropolitan areas. But let's see the demographics here. And given there are so few people, I really don't think there's a lot of benefit to looking at this. Just a few people moving in or out of this county would change these percentages significantly. And if you look at the election results, this is still a county that Trump won extremely comfortably. He was at 88.7. That's down just slightly from 90.9 4 years earlier. But that is a decline, and Harris, meanwhile, went up by 4 points. She went from 4 votes to 10 votes. So I think it's amusing, but given there's almost nobody here, I view this one as another fluke. Number 3 is going to be in Colorado. It's Chaffee County. So this county has some people in it. We're looking at about 19,400. And you can see here's where it's located within the state. Now let's go down to the demographics. Well, the data on here is actually only from 2000. So I'm going to say that's not really all that current, so we can't really use it. So we'll have to just look at the political results here. We've got Harris winning it with over 55%, Trump under 42. And that's a clear blue shift from 2020. But back in 2016, Trump actually won this county. And it was kind of a swing county there for a little while. And before that, it was kind of a solid red county. Republicans routinely won it going all the way back into the 1960s. They weren't by extreme margins, but there was definitely a long red streak in this county. But for whatever reason, over the past couple of elections, the county has clearly gotten bluer. Now, there could be an easy explanation for that, but on the surface, I haven't seen it. Maybe if you look more into it, it becomes obvious. Sometimes it is something within the demographics. Sometimes it could be the proximity to a major city or a college, and sometimes things just change without a clear explanation. Number 2, with a swing of 7% toward Kamala Harris, is going to be a county in the same state. It's San Juan County. Now, this county is the least populous in the state. It only has 700 people in it, and it's located here. It's about a few counties away from Chaffee County, the one we just looked at. So let's see if we can get anything out of these demographics. Well, given Wikipedia only has it updated through 2000 yet again, I don't think that's really going to help us, considering there's just not many people here at all. It looks like this county used to be more populated if you go back about 100 years ago. And if you look at the election results, we've got Harris winning it with 64% almost, and we've got Trump at almost 32. And that does come out to about a 7% shift from just 4 years earlier. So we've got a couple of counties here in Colorado that are defying the national trends. Now let's look at the number 1 county that had the biggest blue shift, and for that we've got to go back to Georgia. This is Henry County, and it's yet again another one near Atlanta. And there's a lot of population here. It's over 240,000. So it's yet another suburban county. Let's look at the demographics. Here the racial population is staggering. White non-Hispanic went from 80% all the way down to just 36 in 20 years. The black population went from 14.6 to 48.4. And the Hispanic population is at about a little over 7.5. So there are some big demographic shifts happening in this county. And over the past 20 or 30 years, the population here has exploded. So if you add all that up, it has had the biggest shift here toward the left. Let's go down here and find the results. We've got Harris winning it with over 64%. Trump is at 34.5. So that's the single biggest blue shift, a massive 9% in a county that has a lot of population in a key battleground state. If you just saw this data and the other three counties we saw in Georgia, you'd think there's no chance Trump won the state, and he probably lost the election as well. But Trump did have gains in other parts of the state. That was enough to offset these big suburban Atlanta shifts. This county voted for Mitt Romney back in 2012, but now it's voting for Harris by almost 30 points. So it looks like there's no turning back for this county. And if you combine that with the other Georgia counties we looked at, this is going to give Democrats hope in this state, both for president as well as some statewide races like the Senate and governor. It's just going to become increasingly difficult to win the state if you're losing that much vote in these counties that have a ton of people. So this is kind of what we already knew. We knew suburban Atlanta was moving way to the left over the past few elections. But now you can see exactly what the damage is. And if you go back to the national county map, here again are these 10 counties. And there are 4 here in Georgia. It might only look like there's 2, but 2 of them are going to be adjacent. So these are going to be some counties to take a look at in pretty much every election in this state going forward. Now, aside from these counties, obviously the margins matter in every other county as well. But it turns out these are just the biggest ones that move toward Harris. Sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't. But I think it's always fun to just see where the movement happens to be, especially considering Trump won all the swing states and he won the popular vote. So some good stuff here. We'll take a look at the Republican counties in a future video. But for now, let me know in the comments, what do you think about any of the blue shifts in any of these counties? Are you surprised to see one of them in South Dakota and Oklahoma? Are there any other patterns with the demographics you were able to find? And let me know down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.